has to be short because I'm going to the dentist in 10 minutes. So it has to be short. And I'm going to keep count on this other little machine. So I recently switched to donation-based services, and there's 4 main reasons. And to be clear, 1 of them is a reason and 3 of them are rationalizations. So what is the reason I switched to donation-based services? Because my heart wanted me to. That is the reason. I had an intuitive nudge a few years ago. I ignored the crap out of it. It got louder. I ignored it. It got louder. I ignored it. It got louder. I mentioned it to my coach in a mastermind group I was in. They were like, maybe this is a money issue for you. You should probably look into it. Okay, I ignored it. Another year goes by. Okay, it's time. So the reason I switched was because my intuition told me to. And that's reason enough. But there are also rationalizations, right? And there are 3 main rationalizations for why I switched as well. 1, it puts me into a spiritual tradition and business model that I understand. So by business model, I mean a spiritual model of teaching and sharing information by a principle called Dana, D-A-N-A, which is a principle of generosity and of sharing. And it was shared with me as a principle of information is freely given to you, or gathered or gained, and teachings are taught to you, and then you pass those on as needed. And so it's sort of a paying it forward type of thing. We all started somewhere, we all got help somewhere, and we're paying it forward. So it brings me into that lineage of spiritual teaching that really makes sense to me, and it helps me tap into a space of service and generosity in myself. So that is one of the rationalizations. Hey, Janet. That's one of the rationalizations. Of course, the reason is because my intuition told me to. Rationalization number 1, because it brings me into alignment with the spiritual practice of Dana. Rationalization number 2, and of course I'm forgetting the other 2, but rationalization number 2 is many of us, and this is a big one, many of us have a whole bunch of shame around money. And we tie our value and our worth to money, particularly in our Western culture. And maybe in other cultures too, but that's not my culture, so I can't speak to it. But I can speak to the Western European, American, white, money-based culture, capitalist culture, right? I can speak to that because it's where I'm from and it's what I represent in the world. So many of us have shame around our value, our worth, and we tie it to money. And so I had this conversation with somebody last night who would like to have a session and immediately started explaining their financial situation, why they can't pay as much as they'd want to pay, why it's so hard for them because they used to make money, but now they're not making as much, which puts them in the position of wanting to have the session, but they can't pay as much. And I was like, I actually don't need to hear all of this. I don't need to hear any of it, but I understand that people need to share and explain, because immediately given an opportunity to donate, we turn what could be a gift into an opportunity to shame ourselves. And for me, because the work that I do with people is about realizing all of the ways that we are shaming, limiting, hurting, holding down ourselves, that very initial experience of even booking a session and feeling all of that shame, having all of those fears, having all of that self-judgment rise to the top, is part of the process. So there's a huge benefit. And again, this isn't a reason, it's a rationalization, but there's a huge benefit to having donation-based services because it already brings up all the things we're going to work on for many people. Not for everybody, but for many people, right? And it also gives us an awareness of how we rationalize our own choices. You know, go to a restaurant and you tip, and maybe you just don't feel like you have a lot of money in your bank account, so you're like looking for things they did wrong so you don't have to tip as much. We've all been there, right? So that happens too. And so we can see the games that we play with ourselves and the power of the stories that we're telling ourselves. The power of the stories that we're telling ourselves. So huge sort of teachable moment right there, just in having that be the nature of the agreement and the relationship that we're going into vis-a-vis money. Huge bonus, huge bonus. And what was the 4th one? There were 4 reasons. The first being the actual reason my intuition told me to. The second being a rationalization, just because it moves me into alignment with Dana, the spiritual practice of Dana. The third, and a rationalization, being that it's already putting us into the work of seeing our own self-judgment and the stories we tell ourselves and the way that we work with the mind in order to like shape who we are and how we value ourselves and what we allow ourselves to be and do in the world. especially in relationship to each other. And the fourth one was, I told myself to write them down. This is kind of funny. I'll think of it. Can you hear the Jeopardy music? I can, as I sit here and think, what is the fourth one? Donna, intuition, the shame. Oh, I don't know if this was it, but this is really at the core of why I was thinking about it for so many years. And actually, this might make me tear up. Is because I personally believe that it is very rare, very, very rare nowadays for any of us to be greeted as a human and treated as a human. And for me, when I took money off the table in services, what it allows me to do is very, very subtly imply that I am with you and you are worthy of my attention because you are a human. And you are a human in pain and or a human desiring a deeper understanding and knowledge and truth. I'm not with you because you paid me a certain amount. I am with you because you are human first. If you choose to pay me a certain amount, great. But I'm with you because you are human first. And to me, that is the most powerful message I could send through doing donation-based services. I personally know that my work is better suited for people who do not have money issues. Because it's very, very hard to focus on your everyday needs and do higher level spiritual existential thinking. Like, they don't go together, right? That need for security overrides the deeper exploration. So I'm not offering donation-based services because the people I want to serve don't have money. I actually think my work is better suited, I know this for a fact, is better suited to people who have more money than they know what to do with. Because then they've realized that money and all the things that money can buy does not buy happiness. It certainly doesn't buy contentment. And it absolutely does not buy peace of spirit, right? Or loving yourself or liking who you are. Those people are the people who can benefit most from my work. And do those people care if I charge? Probably not. But I care that first and foremost, I am with you because you are human. Right? That is a gift I can give. That is a gift I can give of being with the human. So I hope that just explains. It just shares, it illuminates, maybe it inspires you. I don't know. I just felt like sharing. I just felt like sharing the 4 reasons. I guess 2 of which are reasons and 2 of which are rationalizations. But that's really what's at the core of my heart and why I made this decision, even if it might be a crazy business decision or whatever it is. So I wanted to share that. And now I have to go to the dentist. So I will see you all, and I absolutely adore you, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. If you have any questions about this or any stories that you want to share, please pop them below or message me. I am available, as I just shared, for your humanness and your experience. Mwah.